Hello guys, I just wanted to take you through my unconventional workout. This is what I typically do every Sunday. I thought of taking you through a live session with me. I was just trying to set up the camera to make sure that you can see the entire movement. So what I like to do is I like to use the Mace bell. This is an incredible tool because it allows me to do exercises which are using muscles that you don't typically use in the gym. So you're using all your stabilizing muscles. It's basically like free weight, and the majority of the weight is on one side, right? So basically the aim of this is to try and swing the weight but not to resist the weight so much, due to the fact that if you resist the weight, you will know about it. It kind of gives you the signal. So the first exercise I like to start with is the 10 to 2. So 10 as the time and 10 to 2, which is basically swinging behind the front to 10 o'clock with the hands. And notice that basically the bell has to swing behind the body in a nice and straight path. Otherwise I would hit my arm with the mace. And so now I just did that with my right hand on top and my left hand underneath. And typically what I like to do is I like to switch them, and then I like to continue, due to the fact that you do feel the stretch more on the hand that is actually below, due to the fact that it's in a shorter position. Also, what's really nice about this type of training is that you get so much rotation involved. You don't normally get so much rotation when you do gym workout training. Well, it depends what kind of training you do, of course. But notice this is quite hard for the balance. I like to typically do 10 reps with the configuration with the right hand on top and left hand underneath, and then 10 reps the other way around. Then I like to take a small break, put this down, and relax my wrists a little bit, because as you can imagine, it's pretty rough. You're all the time stabilizing with your forearm muscles. If you guys have any questions or anything, just drop them in the chat and I'll check them out in a second. Let's just see how many of you are live. All right, one person is live. Okay, so what I like to do actually is, because I like to keep things interesting, I like to not do like many rounds of the same exercises. However, if I'm feeling like it, if I really enjoy a specific movement, I like to do multiple rounds of that exercise. But if I'm not really feeling like working out in the day in general, I like to still get some movement in. So I'm not going to aim to fatigue my muscles, but I'm aiming just to move my body. So now I'm going to do another exercise, which is called the hammer squats. This is probably one of my favorite Mace exercises. So it starts behind the body like this. And then what I do is, as I squat down, I pull the mace in front of me. And I keep the mace leaning towards me, otherwise it would fall away from me. And as I stand up, it would go back, and then I would pull it back to the front like this. So I'll just show you guys from the front as well. So again, I have my right hand on top and my left hand underneath. So actually what I want to do is I want to do one more set when I switch the hands, because it's quite tiring to do many reps in total. This is weighing 7 kilos, which is approximately 15 pounds for everybody in the US. And you would think that 7 kilos is quite easy, but because the weight is one-sided, it's all on one side, it's actually very tiring, because you're constantly trying to resist the weight from falling down. So now I'm going to do another set on the other side with the configuration the other way around, like this. Okay. And on this exercise, the breathing is super important. So I need to always inhale as the weight goes behind me, and exhale as I pull to the front and squat down, because this actually allows me to have the power and fill my rib cage, my abdomen, to activate my core. Because a lot of times when people think about core training, they think that they need to tense their core, when in reality you just need to breathe correctly. Inhale. So yeah, so typically like what happens in this workout, I typically like to switch between upper body and lower body movements. So anyway, all the lower body movements that I do using the mace is actually upper body dominant because I'm actually having to hold the mace, but I'm still training my legs at the same time. But I like to alternate between upper body dominant and lower body dominant movements. So this is incredible for anybody who is trying to strengthen their upper body. Like, I absolutely love the mace bell for that. Same thing with kettlebells. All unconventional tools are incredible if you understand the fundamentals of how the body works and how everything goes. I like to do gym workout trainings as well, so I typically do 4 gym trainings per week, and I do 1 unconventional workout per week. And every day, though, however, even whether I train or I don't, I always have movement included in my day, whether that is rope flow, or I'm doing some kind of body weight flow, or I'm doing some mobility exercises, which I've already recorded on my YouTube channel, so make sure you check that out. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to the next one, which is going to be called the 180. So 180 is where we go around in a circle, and we just keep going around in the same direction. So I go like this, I get ready, and I come back around, I get ready, I come back around. So there is a little bit of rotation at the hips with this one, but it's more of a circular motion. And the key always with the mace is to actually never resist it, because if you resist it, it really hurts the shoulders like hell. So you actually want to let it, you know, just float. And then once I've done a few in one direction, obviously I have to do the other side as well by swapping the hands. I always find that one side is easier than the other side, so obviously the dominant side is going to be better. And it's actually really surprising how much the core has such a big responsibility in the way that our shoulders and hands operate. So it's a beautiful day today. No clouds in the sky, nice and blue. Plus, I love to train outdoors. You get so many incredible health benefits when you're outside, beyond vitamin D. Vitamin D is just one little small aspect of the benefits of the sun. But you know, think of the sun as like a whole food, which is complete with all its nutrients. Whereas when we're living an indoor lifestyle under artificial lighting, that is almost like a junk food. So it's just processed and it has only one nutrient, which is the blue light. Whereas when we're outside, we're getting all the beneficial nutrients that we need. We're getting the red light, the near-infrared light, UVA, UVB, we're getting the blue light. So all of this is allowing our body to function as it should. Because if you think about it from an ancestral perspective, we always used to spend time outside 24/7. Even our houses or caves or hoods would be, you know, always allowing natural light in, whether we are sitting in the shade or we are in direct sunlight. But nevertheless, we would always be spending time outdoors, and we would be grounded to the earth with our bare feet on the ground. So now I'll just get into the next one so I don't get carried away with my talking. So now I like to do what's called the warrior lunge. So all of these exercises, by the way, I'll probably be giving you some tutorials in the future on my YouTube channel on how to do them. So I start off like this. This feels pretty badass, right? It feels like you're like a warrior. So that's why I call it the warrior lunge. And basically, as I lunge back, I push this forward and I step back simultaneously. And we've got a nice rotation going on here. So I step to the front, step back, and I just find a nice flowing pattern, just like this. And I try and pull with my back hand, so I contract my lats and I push with my front hand, trying not to touch the back knee on the ground, because that allows the fascias to stay nice and tight. Once I've done around 6 to 10 reps on one side, I change and notice that the weight is on the back side because I push it forward, but I can actually do this movement the other way around too. So I would have the weight on the front side and I would be pulling the weight, and so now it would be feeling more on my back muscles. This. So we've got legs, core, upper body, shoulders, coordination, balance, breathing, so many benefits from doing unconventional workouts. Only those who try will actually understand what I'm talking about. The thing is that with training, it's all about finding what you enjoy to do consistently over a long period of time. That's how you're able to reap the benefits of exercise in general, is that not only the exercise itself giving you the benefits, but to learn to enjoy what you do. Because if you don't enjoy what you do, then you're going to quit. And if you quit, then basically you don't see any results in any aspect of health or fitness or capability or function. And the whole idea of doing these type of movements is not because it looks cool, but actually because, yes, it looks cool as a byproduct, but gives me function, so my body becomes functional. I can move my body in unrestricted ways. I feel like pain-free. I improve my mobility. I improve my functionality, my balance, my endurance. And I can do it outdoors as well. My dream is to build a bomb-ass home gym, so I wouldn't need to travel to any gyms. And then I would have all the incredible conventional and unconventional tools, because I respect and appreciate all forms of training. I feel like everything has a value to offer. So now I would like to do the core switches, which is basically where I throw the mace from side to side like this. And I let the mace pull me. I start slow until I get the hang of it. And then I start increasing the speed. Hopefully I don't let go and knock you guys out. Knock the camera over. That gets your abs for sure during that rotation, especially when you basically don't allow it to continue rotating. You are literally trying to go in the opposite direction as it's pulling you backwards. So the core muscles are working under an eccentric motion, and that's where the majority of muscle damage occurs during exercise in general, is during the eccentric phase of exercise. So when the muscle is lengthening, that's when we are actually tearing the tissue. So of course it's micro damage, but you can make macro damage as well. That's why most people get injured during the eccentric phases of training. For example, chest bench press, if people, go too fast down, or they use too much weight, and during the lowering phase, which is the eccentric phase, is when the muscle is becoming longer and it simply just can't tolerate the load, or the tissue is out of condition or something, then of course injury is more likely to occur. The same thing happens as well for Achilles rupture or calf tears as well. Most of the times you'll notice in sports, when people go to step back, that is when the tendon is lengthening, the calf is lengthening, and that's when most people tear their muscles. So the way to be able to avoid injuries is to always train through full range of motion. So training exercises where we are not limiting our range of motion in exercises. Of course, proceed at your own risk. I'm not telling you what to do, I'm telling you what I do. However, that's where you notice the majority of the benefits in your mobility is when you actually strength train or resistance train. This is a form of resistance training because the weight is resistance and it's basically putting stress on my body. But even body weight can be like calisthenics or gym training. This is all considered as resistance training. Even sprints could be considered as resistance training, due to the fact that you're trying to push as hard as you can, run as fast as you can, and you're doing it against the air, against gravity. And when you look at a sprinter, for example, you see how muscular they are compared to a marathon runner. And the reason is because of the type of activity that it is. It's basically you're trying to go as fast as you can, but in doing so, you fatigue your muscles just like you're doing weightlifting or unconventional training, resistance training. Okay, so Now we're going to do another form of lunges, which again starts from behind, just like the hammer squat. So as I reverse lunge, I will pull the mace to the front, like this. This one requires a little bit more balance, just a few reps, so I can get accustomed to the motion. Nobody's perfect. We all need to give ourselves a bit of a break. Again, breathing. Whew, that was nice. It's so good. I love all lunging type of exercises because when you lunge back, what basically happens, you lengthen your hip flexor here on the front under tension, just as I mentioned about lengthening the tissues in full range of motion. And so as the hip flexor is lengthening, it's being loaded at the same time due to the fact that I'm lowering down, so I'm putting even more stress on it and I'm bringing the weight to the front. So now I'm improving the mobility here, which is actually going to help my lower back as well. So most people who have back issues either have tight hip flexors for two reasons. Either they are overworked or they are underworked. So, and because they are tight, because of those two reasons. And so if they are tight, basically that causes you back issues due to the fact that this muscle travels all the way through the hip to the lower back. So for individuals who have a desk job or an office job, they need to keep that in mind about their psoas muscle. So now I'm just going to catch my breath a little bit, and then we're going to go on to the next one. So the next one is going to be a tornado swing. This is a really, really awesome exercise. It feels like you're like a little bit like Hercules when you're doing this. It's very similar to the switching one that we just did earlier, where we go from side to side. But the difference is now that I take the mace around my head and then catch it. But I try and increase the speed on every rep. Can't do that many of those because this is absolutely brutal exercise, because you're using your entire body and your core. So your body is becoming the core. You know, many times we are thinking that the core is like a separate piece from the rest of the body. But remember that the core unifies the upper body and lower body. So without this, you cannot function properly as a human being. This is why it's so good to do, unconventional work, because it's teaching the body how to work together as a unit, as a chain. If one part of the chain is weak, then the whole chain is not working as it should. And so we need to teach it how to work synergistically. I always try to breathe through my nose when I'm training, because this helps to balance my carbon dioxide and oxygen levels. And I try not to exhale through my mouth, due to the fact that I let go of too much carbon dioxide. And basically what happens then, I cannot utilize the oxygen that I'm breathing in, because carbon dioxide is what actually allows the oxygen to be released from the red blood cells to go into the cells to be able to be used by the cells to make energy, ATP. If you cannot make ATP, you begin to fatigue. That's what happens in anaerobic exercise. You basically run out of oxygen. So now I'm going to go for the single arm swing. This is for sure the hardest one for me, due to the fact that this is 7 kilos. I can swing easily 5 kilos, but 7 kilos is pretty tough. And then straight to the other side without pausing. I know that when I'm starting to lose it, when it's going from side to side, and I can't control the grip anymore. That's my set done, even though I want to do more repetitions. So I've covered quite many exercises already. I'm just trying to think if there's any that I didn't show you guys. Okay. Yeah, okay. So there is one which is a little bit more core dominant or core related. Do you like the mace, by the way? This is basically the Atlas mace by Kiba Berlin. I also made a video on this mace maybe a couple of weeks ago if you want to check it out. I'm not endorsed or what do you call it? I'm not promoting it in a way. I'm not paid to promote this. I just purely love the mace, so I just wanted to show you guys. And so you can get maces normally with a regular bell on the end, but this is pretty dope because what Kiba does, he actually makes maces based on whatever design you want. So if you just send him any character, cartoon character or Pokemon or whatever you want, like any design, you can tell him the weight that you desire and also the design, and he will aim to make you a 3D mold of the actual thing, and then he uses a specific substance called plasteel, which is basically plastic and steel. He fills the mold with the resin, and then after he adds, I imagine that he adds this wooden stick in it, and then he pours in the metal beads, which makes the desired weight that you want. Okay, so now the next exercise is what I would call the wood chopper, because it looks like you're chopping wood. So I've got one leg forward because I'm throwing my right hand across my left side. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go diagonal on the outside, and I'm going to step, and I'm going to pull this arm back, and I'm going to push the other one forward like this. Again, another incredible exercise for that rotation of the body. Okay, and now of course, I did one side, I have to do the other side as well, right? Okay. So I'm very intuitive when it comes to training. Many times I don't inherently like to count reps unless that's my goal, that I want to improve on the amount of repetitions that I'm doing on any specific exercise. So on a day when I'm doing unconventional work, which is not too serious for me in terms of let's say muscle gains, this is more for function of the body that I do it. Of course, this can be incredible for muscle gains too, but if I was to take it seriously in that manner, then what I would do is I would have a target rep range that I would want to do, let's say 10 repetitions for 3 sets per exercise, and then every week I would aim to add 1 rep more, because this would be considered as progressive overload. So I'm progressively overloading my body, becoming stronger and stronger. There are many ways to overload the body. It doesn't have to be through repetitions. Of course, once I reach a maximum of 20 reps, I feel like, how many more reps am I going to be doing this exercise? So then I would need to think of other ways to progressively overload my body, right? Because once I reach 20, why would I be going more and more and more? It's just really unnecessary, especially if I'm feeling like I'm getting bored of the exercise. So what I would do is I would just increase the amount of rounds instead. So instead of doing 3 sets, I would do 4 sets or 5 sets, and 5 sets would probably be maximum of any exercise that I would probably do of 20 reps, which would be the maximum amount of repetitions. Another way that I could progressively overload my exercises would be if I just take shorter resting times, or I would do the exercise at a higher speed. So for example, if I normally do it at a slow speed and that's comfortable for me, then you're probably guessing that, or already know that high speed will probably be pretty tough for me. So that would be a way to increase the amount of effort that I'm putting in, basically. And this will This is the foundation for any type of exercise, whether you're going to become faster, stronger, more flexible, more functional. It always comes down to progressive overload. If you understand this principle, then you understand that, okay, I need to always be doing a little bit more than last time, even if I don't feel like doing it. But of course, that is always considering the technique. So if, let's say, I would do an exercise for 20 reps, but after 10 reps, my technique is shit, then there's no point doing the exercise anymore after the 10 reps and proceeding to 20 repetitions, due to the fact that I'm increasing now my risk of injury and it's not giving me the benefit that I actually need. So instead of aiming for so much, I would aim for way less. All right, so now I'm going to do the swing to squats. This is quite a fun one and a little bit challenging on the coordination aspect. So I have to swing it behind my body, catch it, squat, swing the other way, catch it, squat, and again. So that's it, I think, for the mace movements. Okay, so I was going to show you guys some body weight flows as well. However, I decided not to do that in this specific live, due to the fact that I want to keep it strictly towards the mace bell, since that's what I titled this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to my channel. I'm sharing daily videos every single day for inspiration, education, and empowerment. I hope this is helpful for you. Share it with a friend. I appreciate it, and see you next time.